What's going on, traders? Welcome to this week's Forex Forecast. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to check out the Patreon or the YouTube membership for my daily chart analysis. I hope to see you there. Alright, starting things off with the US dollar index. The past week, the banks added 156 long positions and they also got rid of 1,670 short positions. And remember, if you do want this caught report spreadsheet, lifetime access, check out the link in the description to the Patreon. You can get it there. So looking at this weekly chart here of the US dollar, I talked about how it's very likely we could see the US dollar push down into this weekly area of demand. And if you look, we're very, very close to it now. So any US dollar longs, I would probably hold off, wait for this weekly demand to be contacted, and then I would look to get in long the US dollar pairs. And even short positions, you should start to look to take profits right now. So I've been talking about how we could see price push back down to there, and in my opinion, the trends on the lower time frames are very strong. If you look at this 4-hour downtrend, it's very strong. You can see supply zones being respected here and there. So to keep it very simple, if price gets down to weekly demand, I would just wait for this 4-hour downtrend to be removed and the supply to be removed. And then that would be a good sign that the US dollar could actually be headed back up. But this US dollar pulling back into weekly demand is offering a very nice buying setup, especially after we've seen the dollar on such a tear in the past couple weeks. All right, looking at EURUSD forecast, the past week the banks added 6,300 longs and they got rid of 12,289 short positions. And just like the opposite of the US dollar, we actually contacted this weekly area of supply. So we could definitely see at least a small move down on the dollar at least, but we could actually see the dollar completely turn around from here. But definitely expect a little bit of a downward pressure here as the euro hits that weekly area of supply. And it's actually a daily area of supply as well. So we could definitely see the euro fall here. And if you in last week's forecast, I talked about how we had a very nice upward trend here on the 4-hour chart. So if you took my advice, it's not financial advice, but if you took what I was saying and listened, I was saying to get in long. I think that's a decent idea. And as you can see, it worked out very, very nice. So looking at the euro here, this 4-hour chart, to look for any trading setups, yes, we are reacting off of 4-hour demand right now. We could see it push up from here, but remember, like I said, weekly supply is in control, so we could see the euro fall down. And the confirmation you're going to need to get in short, since the euro is in weekly supply, I think looking for shorts is a good idea right now. So the confirmation we would need is something like this, where we can get this demand zone here removed, and as well as this upward trend line removed as well. And that would be your confirmation. And remember, if you want my zones, to check out the YouTube or Patreon membership, and you can get the zone that removes that zone. So to keep it really simple, I do think the euro could fall, and I think that confirmation to the downside would be a good signal that short trades are in play. All right, looking at gold forecast. In last week's forecast, I talked about how once this supply is taken out, leaving us with demand down here, that would be a good signal to get in long. And if you look, what a move from the zone there. So if you're a YouTube or Patreon member, congrats to you. But look at the power of supply and demand. We just wait for supply to be removed, and we look to get in long at the demand that breaks that supply. Remember, if you do want the zones like this, which this zone was available to the YouTube and Patreon members, check out the links in the description. It's only $5 cap per month, or there's another tier where we do private live stream forecasts on Sunday, and you can get custom analysis on any chart to find zones like this for you to look to trade. So check that out. Links are in the description. I hope to see you guys join the team. And just so you know, it's better to sign up for YouTube right now because it's the end of the month, and Patreon charges up front and at the beginning of each month. So the YouTube membership is definitely better right now. So looking at the call report for gold, the past week the banks got rid of 809 longs, and they also got rid of 9,200 short positions. I talked about how weekly demand was in control, and we could see a move up from gold in last week's forecast. And I said once this daily supply is removed on gold, then we can start to look to get involved to the long side. So we have had this supply removed, leaving us with demand down below, but this is very poor quality demand. So now I think looking for longs is completely fine. This was a trading setup right here. But now you could even be on a 15-minute chart looking for little 15-minute demand zones to look to get involved to the long side. So hopefully that takes place. I would definitely be careful shorting gold right now. It seems like the pressure is to the upside right now. 1-hour chart, we have had a nice reaction off of this 1-hour supply so far, but I think once this supply is removed, if we have a new 1-hour demand zone down here, that would be a decent time to possibly look to get in long. So gold looking pretty strong right now. Just remember, weekly demand is in control, so we could definitely see gold continue to push up. USDJPY forecast. The past week, the banks added 1,589 longs, and they also added 4,454 long positions. If you look at the daily chart here, this daily supply has been removed, leaving us with daily demand was removed, leaving us with daily supply right here. So to me, it looks like the US dollar yen could be pushing down, and the DXY is also showing that as well. It's very possible we push all the way down to this weekly demand, but we'll have to keep an eye on the DXY to see what happens there first. So if you did want to hop in short, I think that's fine, but I would definitely use smaller risk based on this weekly trend being so strong. So as far as trading setups go, I do not see too much at all right now. There was a nice little 1 hour zone here for the members, but now I just don't see anything that I can really point out to you guys. If we get new supply zones like right here, that could be a nice little dip shorting opportunity. Until then, I really don't see any trading options at all. I don't really see many setups. Not a fan of this 4 hour supply zone because the trend would be removed at that point. So I'm not really thinking that this one would work out well. But same thing in the 4 hour chart. If we get a new supply zone here, that would be a decent little supply zone to look to get involved to the short side on the USD yen. And if you're looking to get in long, I would at least wait for this daily supply to be removed first, and then I think that would be a good sign that the daily is going to start to push up again and continue this with the overall weekly uptrend. GBPUSD forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 6,700 long positions, and they also, added 454 short positions. So looking at the daily chart here, we have had this daily supply taken out. So to me, it looks like we could be pushing up here on the pound, but be very careful just to look at a different perspective here. We have a beautiful, very strong weekly downtrend. So to me, it just looks like we are retracing back up to this weekly supply and to push back down. So looking for longs on a 50-minute or a 5-minute chart, I think is completely okay. But if you look on the 4 hour chart here, we had a beautiful reaction off one of my 4 hour demand zones right here and down here. But this was the most recent one, and look at the move away from here. If you got involved here, you're looking at definitely a 2-to-1 at least so far. So with that being said, we have a beautiful 4 hour uptrend. So looking for set and forget trades to the long side on a 15-minute or a 5-minute chart is completely okay in my opinion. But what I would wait for first is if you come to a 1 hour chart, I would wait for this 1 hour trend to actually continue. We had this zone removed right here, demand, which left us with this supply zone, and we actually reacted off that supply zone. So this supply right here is looking very significant. So what I would do first is wait for that supply to be taken out, hopefully leaving us with 1 hour demand here where we could look to get involved to the long side there. And as always, any YouTube or Patreon member will have this zone throughout the week. So I would just wait for that to take place, and then I would be very comfortable getting in long on a 15-minute or a 5-minute chart to at least take price up to this weekly supply where we could look to get in short up there. USDCAD. The past week, the banks got rid of 8,800 longs, and they also got rid of 7,000 short positions. Looking at this daily chart here, we actually retraced all the way back to this daily demand where there's not one, but there are 2 demand zones right here. So we could definitely see the USDCAD push up from here. As far as trading setups go, I do not really see too much at all. Yes, we do have some nice 4 hour downtrends and 1 hour downtrends, but daily demand is in control. Now, this is a tricky one where daily demand is in control, but if you look at a weekly chart, there's a lot of profit margin to the downside right here. Let me just get rid of that. There's a lot of profit margin down to this weekly demand. So this daily demand might not even end up holding up. We could end up just blasting all the way through this demand. But that being said, looking for shorts is a little risky. So USDCAD would not really be on my watch list to trade this week at all. Any sort of trade would have to use really good confirmation. So if price came up to this 1 hour supply, you would look for a 5-minute confirmation in there, and that would be it based on daily demand being in control. So this pair is just really not looking great at all this week. I think many of the other pairs are looking much better. So I don't really want to give any zones out just because it's a little bit of a weird situation where we're in daily demand, but there's a 4 hour, 1 hour downtrend. So it's just a very, very tricky situation right now. And whenever it's tricky, I like to stay away. So hopefully you guys appreciate that little tip. All right, looking at AUDUSD, the Aussie dollar forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 4,800 longs, and they also got rid of 4,000 short positions. last week, this daily supply was removed. So in my opinion, looking for longs up to this daily supply zone is definitely in play. So as far as setups goes, let's take a look. We had a few 4-hour demand zones right here that worked out beautifully right here. So those are all used up. So I'm not really seeing too much on the 4-hour chart right now. But if we come down to a 1-hour chart, there is a 1-hour zone right here. That's semi-decent. I'm not completely in love with this zone, but if price does come back to this 1-hour demand, you could definitely look for 5-minute confirmation coming off of here. If you don't know what confirmation is, check out my tips playlist. Links in the description. I break down exactly what I'd be looking for confirmation trades. So I would either wait for that, or you could just look to set and forget trade a 15-minute or a 5-minute chart all to the long side. And you have it's a great time where we have 4-hour and 1-hour trends, so you could be looking for set and forgets to the long side on that, like I said, the 5-minute or the 15-minute chart, with a lot of profit margin just looking at this daily chart. I think price could easily come up to here. There might be some hiccups along the way, but just so you know, if you are thinking about getting in long, there's a lot of profit margins. So I think looking for longs right now is definitely okay. And I wouldn't start to look for shorts, which, I mean, it could turn around and we could start to go down, but I wouldn't be looking for shorts until at least this upward trend line and one of these demand zones is removed. Then we can look to get in on the short side. But until then, I would just continue to trade this one long with this beautiful 4-hour and 1-hour uptrend. All right, looking at USDCHF, the past week the banks got rid of 804 longs and they also got rid of 3,800 short positions. Looking at the daily chart here, this daily supply is a decent little supply zone to look for a 1-hour confirmation in, and there's a lot of profit margin to the downside if we can get that retracement back up to that daily supply. If you look at the weekly chart here, your profit margin looks like this, simply from here down to here. But of course, it could end up turning around at any time, so make sure if you do get in short to look to take some profits off. And as far as any setups goes, I do not see too much right now. We're reacting off of this 4-hour supply zone right now, so you could hop down to a 15-minute chart and look for a 15-minute confirmation to the downside like that, and look to take profits somewhere before this 1-hour area of demand. So that's pretty much all I see here on the USD Swiss. Shorts are definitely looking decent, but remember, weekly trend is still up, even though we've seen a huge reaction to the downside. So at any point, price could turn around, but shorts are certainly in play on a lower time frame. All right, looking at crude oil. The past week, the banks added 6,300 longs and they got rid of 2,700 short positions. And if you look, there's a lot of profit margin still to about $120 or a little bit higher a barrel. So if you do get in long on lower time frames, there's profit margin to the upside. And as far as setups goes, I don't really see too much. The only thing I'd recommend here on crude oil is to look for set and forgets on a 50-minute or a 5-minute chart to the upside. With all that profit margin, it's definitely completely fine to do that. Or if price comes down to this 1-hour area of demand, you could look for a little quick 5-minute confirmation trade to the upside. So longs are certainly in play here on crude oil. And like I said, I would look to take profits as we approach this daily supply zone. And I would definitely be careful getting in long up here because we could certainly see a move down from crude oil. Not that price is going to push down all the way, but we could certainly see at least a small reaction. So I would definitely look to take profits around that daily supply zone. Hopefully you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If you did, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership if you need help finding your supply and demand zones. It's only $5 CAD per month. Hope to see you guys there and hope to see you in the next video.